was arrested for attempted murder of Sharon, I had no idea. I didn't know what they were talking about.
Can we just stop there? Attempted murder of your wife. Right.
I was arrested for attempted murder, Sharon. This shocking confession from Ozzy Osbourne has resurfaced alongside heated footage of his wife's explosive defense going viral. When Sharon's protective instincts exploded on camera, it revealed something darker about their legendary marriage. The viral moment that broke the internet. The internet is buzzing once again with a video that's left millions of fans speechless. Headlines scream, "New heated footage of Ozzy Osbourne and Sharon Osbourne goes viral." But here's the truth. What people are watching isn't exactly new. It's a resurfaced clip from 2008 that has exploded across platforms like TikTok, X, and YouTube. In the weeks following Ozzy Osbourne's tragic death on July 22, 2025, at the age of 76 from complications related to Parkinson's disease. The footage comes from VH1's Rock of Love Charm School, where Sharon Osbourne appeared as a guest mentor. During one episode, a young reality star named Megan Hauserman crossed the line in a way that would set Sharon off like never before. Hauserman mocked Ozzy's slurred speech, a cruel jab at his decades of substance struggles and early signs of Parkinson's, and went further by calling him a senile old man. For context, Ozzy was the love of Sharon's life, and they both met each other when they were 18.
I met Ozzy when I was around 18, and he came into my father's office for management with Black Sabbath. So I was 18 when I first met him.
Love at first sight?
No, not at all.
That's when Sharon snapped. The world of rock and roll has always thrived on chaos, controversy, and unforgettable moments. But when it comes to Ozzy Osbourne and Sharon Osbourne, chaos has never been a byproduct of fame. It's been the very fuel of their legacy. And in the days following Ozzy's heartbreaking death, the internet reignited that legacy with a clip that fans simply cannot stop watching. At first glance, those headlines made it sound like some fresh drama had erupted. But when fans clicked through, what they found wasn't a newly filmed scandal. It was a resurfaced television moment from 2008, a confrontation so wild and unfiltered that even nearly 2 decades later, it hits like a punch in the chest. The clip comes from VH1's Rock of Love Charm School, a spin-off of Bret Michaels' infamous Rock of Love dating series. In this particular episode, Sharon Osbourne appeared as a guest mentor, brought in to instill her brand of etiquette and toughness. But etiquette quickly flew out the window when contestant Megan Hauserman opened her mouth. Hauserman, then just 27 years old and riding her wave of reality TV notoriety, made the fatal mistake of mocking Sharon's husband, Ozzy Osbourne. She imitated his slurred speech, the same slur tied to years of brutal substance abuse and early signs of Parkinson's disease. And then, as if that wasn't cruel enough, she sneered that Ozzy was nothing more than a senile old man. That was it. That was the line Sharon would never allow anyone to cross. What happened next was one of the most infamous reality TV meltdowns ever aired. Sharon, 56 at the time, didn't just defend her husband with words, she defended him with fury. In the raw, uncut footage, Sharon hurls a glass of water into Hauserman's face before physically lunging at her. She slaps her, pulls her hair, and shouts, "They can FK with me, I don't give a but not my family." Security had to rush in to pull Sharon away. The scene was chaos, but for many fans, it was also proof of Sharon's legendary loyalty. First came the glass of water, hurled straight into Hauserman's face. Then came the slap, so quick and shocking that it stunned everyone in the room. Sharon didn't stop there. She lunged, grabbing at Hauserman's hair while shouting at the top of her lungs. The show's security rushed in as the situation spiraled out of control. Contestants screamed, the audience gasped, and Sharon had to be physically pulled away. VH1 cameras caught it all, and almost instantly, it became one of those legendary, "did that really just happen?" TV moments. The aftermath was as dramatic as the moment itself. Hauserman was immediately eliminated from the show, and later sued Sharon for assault and emotional distress, while Sharon countersued, arguing that Hauserman broke her contract by going to court. Years later, the two sides quietly settled out of court, but the damage and the legend had already been sealed. So why is this old footage dominating timelines now? The timing is everything. Just one day after Ozzy's death was announced, the clip resurfaced online. Fans called it a perfect snapshot of Sharon's unwavering devotion across 43 years of marriage. Social media was flooded with captions like, "The way she loved Ozzy is something not common. She really, really loved her husband." The footage suddenly carried a different weight. What once looked like a fiery television feud now feels like a deeply human reminder of Sharon's loyalty. A raw moment when a wife refused to let anyone diminish her husband. Even tabloid outlets jumped on the story. Express described the footage as a testament to Sharon's loyalty, while the Daily Mail embedded the full video and highlighted fan reactions like, "Ozzy was the king of metal, but Sharon was the queen. Never attack royalty." On Tyla, journalists featured the full footage and analyzed fan comments such as, "Queen Sharon in action," and "Protecting the Prince of Darkness." On TikTok, short edits of the fight were plastered with captions like these, while on X, formerly Twitter, one viral post racked up over 1 million views in a single day, captioned, "This is why Sharon is a legend. Nobody messes with her man." But there's another layer to this viral phenomenon. This clip has gone viral not just because of what Sharon did in 2008, but because of what it represents in 2025. It's not just nostalgia. It's a piece of their love story, wrapped in fury and chaos, that fans cling to now that Ozzy is gone. Beyond the viral hype, this footage reopens a much darker conversation about Ozzy and Sharon's marriage, one marked not just by fierce loyalty, but also by addiction, violence, and survival. And that love story? It's far darker, more complicated, and more resilient than the average viewer could ever imagine. The dark truth behind their love story. To truly understand why Sharon's outburst resonates so deeply, we need to look back at the history of her relationship with Ozzy, a love story that's been as destructive as it has been enduring. Their romance didn't begin as a fairy tale, and it certainly didn't unfold like one. Sharon first met Ozzy in the early 1970s, when he was fronting Black Sabbath. She was just 18 at the time, working for her father, notorious music manager Don Arden. Her first impression wasn't exactly romantic. To Sharon, the band members seemed strange, hairy, and far removed from the slick American artist she was used to. As Sharon recalled,
In '79, we were working together, and it was in 1980 that we started. We were working together, and it just became something else.
But everything changed when she saw Sabbath perform live. Their raw power electrified her. The raw energy of Black Sabbath was unlike anything she had ever witnessed. Sharon went from skeptical to fascinated, and by the early 1980s, after Ozzy's divorce from his first wife, she and Ozzy began a relationship. She became his manager, then his wife, and ultimately the person who rebuilt his career from ashes. From the start, it was turbulent. Ozzy's addictions were spiraling. He drank heavily, abused drugs endlessly, and partied like there was no tomorrow. His bandmates eventually kicked him out of Black Sabbath for being too out of control. That's when Sharon stepped in, first as his manager, then as his partner. She rebuilt his career, guiding him into a wildly successful solo path, and stood by him as his addictions consumed their personal life. Yet the Osbournes' marriage was never simple. Ozzy's addictions to alcohol and drugs spiraled into chaos. And addiction doesn't just break careers, it destroys homes. And in the Osbourne household, it nearly ended in tragedy. During a harrowing interview with 60 Minutes Australia, Ozzy admitted that at the height of his addictions, he was arrested for attempted murder, after nearly strangling Sharon to death while drunk and high. In a shocking revelation during this interview, Ozzy admitted the darkest chapter of their relationship.
I was arrested for attempted murder of Sharon. I had no idea. I didn't know what they were talking about.
Can we just stop there? Attempted murder of your wife. Right.
Sharon then gave her chilling recollection of that terrifying night in September 1989. Drunk and high, Ozzy came downstairs in just his underwear and told Sharon, "We've made a decision, and you've got to die." Moments later, he lunged at her, strangling her until she nearly blacked out.
Suddenly, he just said, "We've made a decision. I've got to die." He lunged on me and started strangling me.
She survived the attack, but just barely. When asked how close she came to death, Sharon didn't hesitate.
Pretty damn close.
Sharon survived and called the police. Ozzy was arrested and charged with attempted murder, but instead of prison, he was ordered to undergo rehab. Sharon chose not to press charges. This incident has haunted their marriage ever since. Sharon has spoken openly about the trauma, but critics accuse her of enabling Ozzy by staying. For most couples, that would have been the end. For Sharon, it was just another chapter. Despite this horrific moment, Sharon stayed. When pressed why, she explained that to her, Ozzy was both vulnerable and lovable, even through addiction and chaos. Her love wasn't blind, it was relentless. She saw Ozzy's vulnerabilities, his humor, and his childlike nature, even when buried under layers of addiction and violence.
At the time that we got married, I didn't think he was extreme in any way, and I loved him.
But this wasn't an isolated incident. Their marriage weathered affairs, relapses, public fights, and scandal after scandal. In 2016, Ozzy's affair with a hairstylist nearly destroyed their marriage again. The tabloids exploded with the revelation that Ozzy had been having an affair with hairstylist Michelle Pugh. Sharon immediately kicked him out of the house. On The Talk, she made a shocking confession. She attempted suicide after discovering the betrayal. "I took an overdose. It was my way of self-punishment," she admitted. Eventually, Ozzy sought therapy for sex addiction, and the couple reconciled. But the scandal reminded the world that even after decades together, the Osbournes' marriage was far from peaceful. Sharon briefly separated from him and even admitted on The Talk that the betrayal drove her to a suicide attempt. But once again, she forgave him. Through infidelity, domestic violence, and addiction, Sharon's loyalty never broke, and in the process, she turned their marriage into a public spectacle. Yet through all of it, Sharon became not just his partner, but his protector and career architect. She launched Ozzfest, managed his solo career, and even turned their chaotic home life into a hit MTV reality show, The Osbournes, 2002 to 2005, which cemented their family as icons of dysfunction. In 2002, the MTV reality show, The Osbournes, turned the family into America's favorite dysfunctional household. Viewers watched Ozzy stumble through daily life, often intoxicated, while Sharon tried to keep the family together. The show captured everything from absurd fights to heartfelt moments, and audiences couldn't get enough. But behind the laughs, the Osbournes were dealing with very real demons. Sharon was battling colon cancer. Jack and Kelly struggled with substance abuse of their own. And Ozzy? He was still wrestling with the addictions that nearly killed him. But Sharon's protection of Ozzy came at a cost. From feuding with musicians like Bruce Dickinson of Iron Maiden to facing racism allegations on The Talk, Sharon's career has been littered with controversies. The 2005 Ozzfest sabotage of Iron Maiden, where Sharon allegedly cut their sound and encouraged fans to throw eggs at the band after Dickinson mocked Ozzy, showed her willingness to wage war for her husband. When Iron Maiden frontman Bruce Dickinson mocked Ozzy for lip-syncing and substance abuse during the 2005 Ozzfest tour, Sharon allegedly orchestrated one of the most infamous acts of revenge in rock history. She had Iron Maiden's sound cut 3 times mid-performance, encouraged fans to throw eggs at the band, and heckled Dickinson through the PA system, calling him names. Iron Maiden called it outright sabotage. Sharon defended it as protecting her husband's honor. The scandal divided the rock community. Some applauded her fierce loyalty, others condemned her as unprofessional. Long before reality TV, Sharon was accused of ruthlessness in business. In the 1990s, former Black Sabbath bassist Bob Daisley and drummer Lee Kerslake sued Ozzy and Sharon, claiming they were denied royalties for their work on Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman. The two alleged Sharon deliberately erased their names from credits to save money. The lawsuits were eventually settled out of court, but among hardcore fans, Sharon's reputation as a cutthroat manager was cemented. Her 2021 exit from The Talk following racism and bullying accusations from former co-hosts like Leah Remini and Holly Robinson Peete nearly destroyed her American television career. Perhaps Sharon's most career-damaging scandal came on CBS's The Talk. After Meghan Markle's interview with Oprah exposed royal racism, Sharon defended her friend Piers Morgan for dismissing Markle's claims. The confrontation with her black co-host Cheryl Underwood went viral, as Sharon demanded, "Educate me, tell me what he said that's racist." Soon, past co-hosts came forward with serious allegations. Leah Remini accused Sharon of calling Julie Chen wonton and Sarah Gilbert a fish eater. Holly Robinson Peete claimed Sharon said she was too ghetto for the show. CBS investigated and concluded Sharon created a toxic environment. She was ousted from the show and later claimed she was blacklisted in the US because of cancel culture. Critics accused her of using racial slurs and creating a toxic work environment, but Sharon claimed she was a victim of cancel culture. Sharon has never shied away from celebrity spats either. In 2013, she publicly feuded with Lady Gaga after Kelly Osbourne criticized Gaga's weight. Sharon wrote an open letter accusing Gaga of hypocrisy for preaching anti-bullying while her little monsters threatened Kelly with rape and murder. Gaga clapped back, urging Sharon to teach Kelly kindness. In 2017, Sharon went after Kim Kardashian, calling her nude selfies not feminism, that's being a hoe. The backlash was immediate, with critics accusing Sharon of slut-shaming. She refused to apologize. For fans, this extensive history gives the viral Charm School clip new weight. Sharon wasn't just reacting to an insult, she was defending a man she had literally fought for, bled for, and nearly died for. That's what makes the viral Charm School clip so powerful today. Sharon's explosive defense of Ozzy wasn't just a random reality TV tantrum. It was a public extension of the same battle she had fought for decades, the battle to protect, defend, and preserve her husband at all costs. A legacy written in chaos and devotion. The resurfaced footage isn't really about reality TV drama. It's about legacy. It's about Sharon's ferocious loyalty in a marriage defined by survival. And it's about understanding why this particular moment has captured the imagination of millions in 2025. When Ozzy passed away in July 2025, Sharon broke her silence weeks later with a heartbreaking post. "My heart is broken. Ozzy was my everything, and I'll carry him with me forever," People magazine. That statement echoed through the viral clip, a reminder that for all their chaos, the Osbournes were united by an unbreakable bond. The timing of the viral spread made the moment hit even harder. On X, one fan wrote, "This is why Sharon is a legend. Nobody messes with her man." On TikTok, edits of the confrontation labeled Sharon as the ultimate wife and queen of loyalty. But to understand the full impact of Ozzy's death and the viral response to Sharon's loyalty, we need to examine his tragic final years. Ozzy's fate was written in the same ink that marked his music: drugs, alcohol, and chaos. From the earliest days of Black Sabbath, he was already notorious for binge drinking and heavy drug use. Bandmates joked that Ozzy could outlast anyone in a party, but his body paid the price. By the late 70s, his addictions got him fired from Black Sabbath. Sharon picked him up, rebuilt his career, and launched him into solo superstardom. But the cycle of relapse never ended. These struggles left him physically frail, decades before most rock stars even think about retirement. The drugs and alcohol weren't Ozzy's only battle. Over time, his body seemed to betray him piece by piece. Ozzy's final years were marked by devastating health battles. In 2003, he nearly died in a quad bike accident on his estate in Buckinghamshire, breaking his collarbone, 8 ribs, and a vertebra in his neck. He was in a coma for 8 days and required emergency surgery. Sharon later revealed she was told to prepare for his death. In 2019, he suffered a severe fall in his Los Angeles home, dislodging metal rods from a previous surgery and leaving him in excruciating pain. By 2020, Ozzy publicly revealed he had been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, a progressive neurological disorder. His Parkinson's diagnosis in 2019 explained his tremors and declining speech that Hauserman had cruelly mocked years earlier. It explained his tremors, slurred speech, and declining mobility. Sharon admitted it was a nightmare for the family and said it was one of the hardest things she'd ever faced. Ozzy spent much of his later life trying to return to the stage, but his health made it impossible. In 2019, he canceled a massive farewell tour due to illness and injury. By 2023, he was forced to retire from touring, admitting he was not physically capable anymore. Despite the end of his touring career, he clung to the hope of performing occasional shows, but even that dream faded. For a man who had lived his entire life for the stage, this was a cruel fate. The Prince of Darkness was silenced not by scandal, but by his own body failing him. By 2025, Ozzy's condition worsened dramatically. Sources close to the family reported he spent much of his time in a wheelchair and needed round-the-clock care. But through every health crisis, every addiction battle, and every scandal, Sharon remained by his side. The viral clip represents more than a television moment. It captures the essence of their entire relationship: chaotic, controversial, and absolutely devoted. Sharon's explosive defense of Ozzy wasn't just a random reality TV tantrum. It was a public extension of the same battle she had fought for decades: the battle to protect, defend, and preserve her husband at all costs. Looking at Sharon's long list of scandals throughout their marriage, it becomes clear that Sharon Osbourne has never been neutral. Every chapter of her life, from Ozzy's attempted murder charge, to sabotaging Iron Maiden, to fighting reality stars, to sparring with celebrities, has been defined by conflict. For supporters, that conflict is loyalty. Sharon is the ultimate ride or die, a woman who defended her family with her fists, her words, and her career. Even with Sharon's own extensive scandal sheet, from celebrity feuds with Lady Gaga and Kim Kardashian to her recent political controversies, fans continue to view her through the lens of that loyalty. The viral footage serves as a reminder that behind every headline about Sharon's aggression was a woman who would literally fight anyone who threatened her family. In recent years, Sharon sparked controversy for her use of Ozempic, a diabetes drug repurposed for weight loss. She admitted losing 42 pounds, dropping below 100 pounds, and struggling to gain it back. Critics accused her of promoting unhealthy beauty standards. The controversy deepened when Amanda Holden mocked Sharon's appearance, triggering a bitter online feud where Sharon listed her career achievements and called Holden bitter. Even after Ozzy's death, Sharon couldn't stay out of headlines. She called for Irish rap group Kneecap to be banned from Glastonbury and denied U.S. visas, accusing them of supporting terrorism because of their pro-Palestine stances. Critics accused her of censorship and Islamophobia. She also clashed with Kanye West, who sued Ozzy's estate over an unauthorized use of Iron Man at a listening event. Sharon escalated it by calling Kanye an anti-Semite. For critics, Sharon's pattern represents bullying, proof that Sharon thrives on chaos and destruction. But not everyone agrees with the lionization of Sharon's behavior. Critics point to her long history of controversies, arguing the viral clip reinforces her pattern of aggression rather than her loyalty. They question whether staying with someone who nearly killed you represents love or enables destructive behavior. The Sharon example also raises an uncomfortable question. When does loyalty stop being a virtue and start becoming dangerous? When Sharon threw water and pulled Meghan's hair, was that loyalty or violence? These viral moments force fans to confront their own biases. We cheer loyalty when it looks dramatic on TV, but in real life, that same loyalty often leaves scars, broken relationships, and careers in ruins. Sharon and Ozzy's marriage was both proof of undying devotion and a cautionary tale of survival through abuse. Even so, the fact remains, Sharon Osbourne spent more than 4 decades standing beside the self-proclaimed Prince of Darkness. Through addiction, attempted murder, infidelity, and public humiliation, she stayed. The viral footage isn't new, but its resurgence tells us something profound. Fans don't just remember Ozzy as the godfather of heavy metal. They remember Sharon as the woman who fought like hell to protect him, sometimes literally. And that's why the viral Charm School clip matters so much today. Because it isn't just reality TV, it's the distilled essence of Sharon Osbourne's public life. Loyalty, fury, controversy, and love, all rolled into one unforgettable moment. Ozzy Osbourne's fate is tragic because it humanizes him. Behind the bat-biting theatrics and the heavy metal madness was a man struggling against his own body, his own demons, and the passage of time. And yet, his death doesn't erase his legacy, it magnifies it. Fans worldwide mourned not just a musician, but a symbol of survival. Someone who, despite every attempt by fate to destroy him, kept coming back. Until finally, fate won. The tragic fate of Ozzy Osbourne reminds us why the viral Sharon clip matters. It isn't just about a wife lashing out on reality TV. It's about a marriage defined by survival. About a man who defied death over and over, only to lose to the one thing he couldn't fight, time. And maybe that's why this clip, chaotic and messy as it is, feels like the most honest tribute of all. In a world where celebrity marriages crumble at the first sign of trouble, Sharon and Ozzy's union endured everything. Their love story was not neat, not clean, not sanitized. It was raw, jagged, and full of scars, but it was unbreakable. The Prince of Darkness may be gone, but his legacy lives on through the woman who never stopped fighting for him. And that fight, captured in 8 chaotic seconds of reality television, will be remembered long after the headlines fade. Ozzy lived as the Prince of Darkness. He died as a husband, a father, and a legend. And thanks to Sharon's unrelenting loyalty, his story will never be forgotten. Thanks for watching. Check out other cards on the screen.